We are Six Driven, and this is our podcast. We're a group of friends from all walks of life and all sorts of backgrounds, and we all came together through a love of all things automotive. So tonight we're just going to chat about a couple of things that may come to mind. We're going to chat about some recent events, Goodwood, a couple of the cars that were shown there, lots of really cool stuff, and we're just going to get into it. So I'm joined by a couple of people here tonight. I'm Adam, one of the main hosts. We're joined by Orlando Santiago, Jose Cortez, and Luis Rodriguez. So a little bit of a lighter crew than our last episode, but a couple of our members actually got sick, so they're under the weather. But hope to have them. that was like you last time. But yeah, we hope to have them on again soon, and should be a good time. So yeah, let's just get into it. See if we have any updates since the last show. I know it's been probably 2 or 3 weeks, but I think the main topic that we wanted to get into was the Goodwood Festival of Speed. If anybody's not familiar with it, it's an event that happens in the UK every year. And I got to say, every year that it happens, it seems to get better and better and better, to the point now that I really want to make it a point to get there. Seems kind of a one-stop shop for everything automotive that's happening. A lot of manufacturers unveil stuff. All the cars are making the hill climb, setting records. Really, really cool stuff. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to tune in. I know, Jose, you and I were talking about it the other day. Some really, really cool stuff. So let's just jump right into that. What's your highlight? What's your takeaway? What'd you see that was cool?
I mean, first of all, M3 Touring, like, wow, car. Finally. Like, I feel like everyone's been wanting an M3 wagon forever. I'm a little sad that won't be coming to the US, especially after the success Audi had with the R6. But man, I want that car, even though it's ugly as hell from the front.
Do you know if they released any pricing on that?
Nah, I don't think they released any pricing in the Europe, and it's not coming to the US anyway, so we got screwed like always.
As is always the case.
But I just don't get it because R6 is sold out until 2023 right now. Like, I think there's a market.
I mean, yeah, you could make that argument for people like us, right? Like, we're kind of the gearheads that definitely want the cool, unique stuff. But I mean, working in automotive marketing and advertising, the market shifted towards SUVs, man. It'd be a really cool car to see it here, but I just don't know if it would sell.
I agree with you that the market has shifted to SUV if we were talking like a 340i Touring. But M3 Touring, I think there's enough enthusiasts that are buying that car anyways that they will be inclined to buy a Touring. Like, RS6 sold better than RS7. That's true, yeah. Like, that's the proof that it works. Like, the formula works.
Yeah, but who doesn't love a good wagon?
That's my point.
Believe me. I mean, hatchback wagon,
honestly,
like,
I would honestly have a hatchback wagon over a sportback any day.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, hell yeah. So
totally agree.
I mean, especially in R6, you feel me?
Yeah. R6 I feel is too big, so having an M3 wagon would be like, oh,
that would be gnarly.
Exactly. Well, yeah, the front end is ugly, but it's the right size.
Where's Jeff when we need him to defend the front end?
Yeah, right.
It's ugly, so
yeah, it's not great.
At least it's not forged carbon fiber. Okay.
True. It looks like a granite countertop when people have that stuff. By the way, speaking of M3s, today at lunch, I actually saw the most gorgeous. It was an M3 or an M4 rather, Heritage edition, and it was painted in Laguna Seca blue, like the E46. And dude, it was the cleanest, most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I actually spoke to the guy for like 20-30 seconds, and he said it was one of, I think, 750 that they made for that special edition.
Which generation was that?
It was so whatever the one. I always get the BMW chassis codes messed up now. I think it was the F. No, it was the inline 6, but
F80.
The F80.
Yeah,
F80. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're at G8 right now.
So. The one with the gray interior.
Yes. But no, seriously, like, look that thing up. The M4 Heritage Edition in Laguna Seca blue.
So
it was
F82.
Absolutely beautiful. Right. And in fact, the guy mentioned, he said, because I was driving by my car, he said he had a GLI and then he had a Mark 7 Golf R before he got into the M4. So he was kind of a former Volkswagen guy. So that was pretty cool.
Did he have was it purple?
What's that?
Was it purple?
It was not purple. But yeah, I was. Oh, go ahead.
The seats are cool as hell.
The whole car was cool as hell.
Yeah.
And then it had this really subtle stripe on the
the
carbon fiber roof, like over the driver side with the M colors. It was really neat. So in my mind, that was a way better design than the current one. That's just me.
I agreed, except the interior on the old one sucks.
I
Really
don't
bad.
disagree there. Don't disagree.
Like you
but
drive a G80 and it drives like an M5 smaller, which is great. So
I would actually like to drive one. I haven't driven one, but
Yeah.
here's my prediction for the new M3 Touring, and it's also weird to me because to me a Touring is like a GT3 Touring, but for BMW Touring just means estate, which means wagon. So
Well, not just for them. I think a lot of manufacturers use
Yeah.
it too.
yeah. I mean, obviously Audi goes Avant, and some of them go estate, and some of them go wagon, whatever. But here's my prediction: I think in the coming year, you're going to see that as the hottest, like Instagram influencer, YouTuber car in the markets that they can get it. I don't think we'll see it here, like you said, but who knows?
If we saw that car here, I would be lining up to buy one, and I hate BMW.
I could see you doing that, but I
Yeah.
feel like you line up to buy everything that gets announced.
Yeah, I'd go. I'd
may do that too often.
I'd go into debt for that car for sure.
Well, for you, it'd be the perfect
But-
kind of camera car too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would say I think I'd rather have that car than my RS6.
Whoa, that's a bold
Yeah, that's-
statement.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that actually begs the question though, because the RS6, it's an amazing car. Obviously,
too big.
It's large. Why the hell won't Audi give us the RS4?
I heard rumors that they might, but I won't believe them until I see it.
Because the RS4 is basically the perfect size, perfect practicality, just quick enough, and it has that forbidden fruit aspect to it, just like the RS6 did. So I feel like people would go nuts for it.
So why
I've
do
heard
people-
rumors that it will happen, but
Why do people
knows?
don't get nuts about the all road? If you think about it.
because it's not the performance variant.
Right.
Like people who are buying the RS6, it's like they have the money, obviously, but they're like true enthusiasts because to spend 140 grand on an A6, you have to like them. That's why they're willing to get a wagon because it's like they understand what it is.
Right.
An A6 wagon is like 80 grand for an A6. I
Yeah.
had an A6. I wouldn't pay 80 grand for that ever.
And then I think also like you said, like it's not the performance model, but it's also kind of seen as that like it's the alternative to a crossover. So people up in the Pacific Northwest or up in the in Maine and New Hampshire, like they get those as kind of their rugged, but still kind of like a family car versus a fun performance car that you can turn into a build and put some really cool wheels and lips and spoilers and whatever people
Yeah.
do. I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
the RS car already is a niche product. It doesn't have that many sales compared to an A6. So it's way easier to get a higher percentage of people who are buying the RS products to go for a wagon because they're already like a niche buyer to begin with. So
I think the RS6 definitely had some of that Halo car effect that rubbed off on it. I
No.
mean,
now my own to counter argue myself a little. Why didn't the E63 wagon work? That's why I don't
That's a good
understand.
question.
That thing was really expensive though, was it
Yeah,
not?
but it was the same price as the RS6.
And the RS6 did better.
Yeah, RS6 is sold out right now until 2023.
Hmm.
Like deep into
But it was
2023.
a forbidden fruit.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
he's right.
You made people thirsty before you
yeah.
told them like, "Hey, I am gonna give you this," but you have to.
But I
Wait,
think
wait.
if BMW did the marketing right, they could definitely play that off with the G80 or G84, I think it is, tour M3 Touring. So
And keep in mind, we did have a touring version of a 3 Series at one point here.
yeah,
The
but it didn't sell.
E46. No, it was an E46. It wasn't
Yeah.
a performance version either.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like we did had a wagon, 3 Series wagon here
Yeah,
as a US spec car, which is something people don't realize.
yeah,
I think you have to hit, especially for these wagons and stuff. I mean, even with the hatchbacks, right? The only hatchbacks that are really sold in the US now are the performance variants. Volkswagen canceled the Golf, so you can only get the GTI and the R. The Veloster, unfortunately, is going away. That's sad.
Veloster. Yeah, you're right. I was
you
going to
know,
say the N,
Veloster.
but
Yeah, they killed the regular Veloster. They kept the N, and now they're killing the N too. It's just people aren't going for it unless it's a jacked up, suspension lift. Call it a crossover, and then people like them all of a sudden. It's sad,
it
but
didn't do as well as people thought it would. That's the thing.
mhm.
But the Elantra is a more capable car as far as like room and stuff.
It's more marketable, and actually we can get into this in a little bit later
Sure.
with another one of our topics. But I have some stuff that was interesting from a recent Jason Camisa video. If you guys watched his Icons video about the Z, but we'll get into that. I know we had that as a topic for a little bit later in the show. But getting back to Goodwood, yeah, the M3 touring, really really cool. I think it's going to be a little bit played out very quickly on social, on YouTube, Instagram, that sort of stuff.
Oh, for sure.
That's just the nature of these things. But I'll be
But if it
curious
gets
to
played
see.
out, it means it's selling. So
Right, it's a good problem to have as a manufacturer, for sure.
yeah, exactly.
You
Mission
know,
accomplished for BMW. If it
yeah,
gets played out.
if you can be the hot new car for social, then somebody did their job well when it comes to designing the car and all that. So I think it's going to come as no surprise. My favorite car from Goodwood. Can anybody guess?
Well, the LMDH?
No
No.
idea.
The one with the fan that has like 2 tons.
No, definitely not that.
Well, no, that's not my favorite. Like, obviously, I'm impressed by it, but I have some comments on that too. No, my favorite. It's the Singer Turbo Study.
Oh, that car.
It's incredible.
So I heard a lot about the car leading up and the first day of the event, and I saw no content whatsoever of it doing runs. So I have no idea what it is.
No, it did a run. I didn't have a chance to see the video. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch many of the live streams or anything. But dude, this car is it's incredible. It's everything that there is to love about a Singer, but it's just a new concept that they kind of took some parts from the older turbos. They took some stuff from the DLS that they unveiled at Goodwood a couple years ago, which is still in my probably top 2 or 3 cars of all time that I've been lucky enough to see in person too. But yeah, this turbo study is it's incredible. I mean, if I won the lotto, I'd be first in line at Singer and telling them, just give me your entire lineup. Here's a blank check. Really, really, really cool stuff. I think it's like 500 horsepower. It's
still air cooled. How?
Yes. Yeah. They
except it has air to water intercoolers, but wow.
Right. But I don't know if they worked with Williams on that engine, just like they did on the DLS, but, it's completely redesigned, but it's an air-cooled turbo, old school Porsche engine, and it just looks amazing, sounds amazing. Can't imagine how expensive it's going to be.
And
But
it looks like a proper older 911 too.
Yeah.
well,
You have
I mean
to know
that's
what it is. And
that's
the
the
video.
yeah, that's the appeal to me about Singer. It's like they take the best parts of older Porsches and just make them into a medley of like the best of every little generation that they can tweak together. It's just perfection. That's just, that's me. You guys, I'm nuts about Singer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just like RWB, right?
RWB all the way, man.
Adam hates RWB.
Bet.
I don't know if hates is the accurate word.
It is.
or
It
is a
is.
strong enough word, because dude, this man hates.
No, that's
RWB.
my point. That's my point, because it's an accurate word. It's just not strong enough.
Okay, I agree with that statement.
Yeah, I could probably do a 3-hour episode just on many reasons why RWB is trash. Yep,
You're
I said
wrong,
it.
but
I said
okay.
it. I
You're
said it.
wrong, but okay.
I said it. Come at me. It's okay. I'll defend it till the day I die. So I don't know if anybody else had a chance to watch Goodwood or see any of the recaps. But yeah, Orlando, you touched on that. The McMurtry Sperling. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, because it's got a bunch of accents and stuff in weird places. But yeah, tiny little fan car set the outright record for Goodwood. Just nuts. It looks like, if you see the video, it looks like it's in fast forward. It looks like it's in being sped up in a video player.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What
It's
was the
apparently-
previous record at Goodwood?
So there's two previous records, right? The official record I think was a Formula One car from years ago, but the unofficial record was the VW IDR, which is their electric Pikes
Oh,
Peak hill climb
at
car.
41 seconds. God, yeah.
Correct, but it's not an official record because they set that during qualifying, not in the actual
Got you.
run. So it's like an
Still.
unofficial record,
But still,
it's still
2 seconds.
cra-
2 seconds faster. Like
crazy fast.
on a 40-second course. Like that's
Yeah.
not the same
Yeah.
speed at all.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, I know we mentioned him in our last podcast also, but Zach from Porsche Experience Center today got to meet Romain Dumas, who was the world record driver for the IDR and also for the 919 Evo Hybrid that set the Nürburgring lap record. So we have like, what is that, 7 degrees of separation or something? So we know a guy who's met.
Who knows the guys?
Yes, exactly. But yeah, that McMurtry thing, it's a fan car. So
Do you know
I
they're
mean-
making a real legal version?
I heard about it. I didn't look into exactly how they're going to do it, but
Probably Europe only, but still.
yeah.
Like,
But it's a single seater, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So because that's
So
also
like
the
a
funny.
VSE model, so it's not going to be like
Yeah.
anything that you'll ever see. But
But that's kind of the funny thing about the car too, because not only does it look like it's in, fast forward on a video player, but if you look at a picture of it, it looks like the aspect ratio on your TV is wrong. Like it just looks, the proportions are so strange.
Yeah.
It's this like squashed little single seater thing with a canopy. It's bizarre. But it being a fan car, I don't know. To me, it's almost like, yes, it set the record, but you'd expect it to. So I wonder if there's going to be
But-
like categories now.
But there's old F1 fan cars that have probably attempted that hill climb, and this is still faster. So
I get it. I get
So-
it. I don't know. To me, it's like not really an apples to apples comparison. But I guess then again, that's the beauty of Goodwood because it's like you see everything from a Rolls Royce Phantom to a McMurtry Sperling going up the hill and setting whatever
Yeah.
fastest time they can do. But yeah, that's definitely an event that I would like to get to at some point because who knows what you're going to see. There's just everything.
yeah.
Koenigsegg was there. They had the Jesco Absolute and the
They didn't
the
do
Attack.
a timed run, right? With those cars?
I actually don't know. I feel like if they did, we would have seen more
Yeah.
videos and stuff of him.
They're probably
um,
holding off while they're still in development because I know the cars aren't finalized.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. And then also I think obviously Shmi 150 was there and he had his Zenvo. I don't know how I feel about that brand still. It seems like a glorified kit car if you ask me, but he unveiled that thing. I don't know if they went up the hill.
No, his car didn't go up the hill. I think it's
Yeah.
still not finished, but
I think half of the YouTube was there,
oh, of course.
I mean,
which in my opinion, it's gonna start taking away from the event because it used to be like an exclusive, manufacturers and like cool stuff thing, and now it's like everyone is there.
Is it
Well-
invite? Is it invite only? Anybody know?
no, it's open to the public.
You could just literally go.
Yeah,
Why
it's
don't we
open to
just-
the public.
Let's just take a trip, guys. Next one.
I'm down.
Absolutely.
I don't.
Department of Planning.
Absolutely.
Let's take a trip a month after the show's over.
I mean, with our luck. But no, I mean, seriously, that would be a really, really cool trip. It would be tough to plan it and it would probably be expensive, but I bet you would be unforgettable.
Yeah.
I think it'll be sick.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, airfare, hotel, getting around once you're there because it's kind of out in the countryside.
We've done
It's
it
not
once
really-
or twice. It's not that hard.
Once
To-
partially
to-
successful.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I almost forgot. So the two kind of rival cars, the AMG 1 was there and the Aston Martin Valkyrie was there. Now, the Valkyrie, yeah, the Valkyrie, I kind of stopped paying attention to it for a little while. I feel like it was in production or in development for such a long time. But now that it's out and they're actually functioning and idling well and driving, I mean, it's pretty incredible. The way it sounds, the way it's handling, all that. But the AMG 1, I mean, I feel like they kind of missed the ball on that one. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to it, but
I think they were too ambitious and too like they were just too ambitious. Putting a Formula One championship engine into a road car is a lot easier said than done.
Wasn't it true at one point it was idling at like 4,500 RPM or something? and they expected that to be like a road going, you know.
Well, I think the Formula One engine it was like a 5,000. Like,
Yeah.
it was not happy being in that car.
Yeah.
So obviously now they got it to idle like a reasonable RPM, reasonable being like 1,500. Let's be clear.
Right. Right.
So,
and then I think it's going to need a rebuild every 30,000 miles or something like that.
I think they solved that problem, but I wouldn't be surprised. So,
well, by solve, that just means they deleted it out of the owner's manual, and they'll find out when they get there.
or they moved it to 60,000 miles or something, or 50,000.
Right.
So it's
but I was watching a couple of videos on it, and really the stats like maybe 7-8 years ago would have been super
great,
impressive.
but it's too slow now.
But now, I mean, it's like a $2.5 million car. Oh, mind you, it's not going to be available in the U.S. They said that they can't get it homologated for the U.S. So, I mean, that takes the wind out of its sail because I'm sure there were a ton of collectors in the U.S. who wanted one.
I think they're still going to come to the U.S. the same way Valkyries are coming to the U.S. because Valkyries are not homologated; they're show and display. Let's be clear.
Correct. Yeah.
So, Jescos are not coming. Actually, Jesco might be fully homologated, but Agera was show and display. So, I don't think we're going to get. I think it's going to be like the same as getting a Valkyrie or any other one of those cars.
Well, yeah, I feel like when you're in that tax bracket and you have that level of car collection, you do things and you find ways to do things, and nobody really questions you. So I'm sure we'll see one or a few in the US.
I think there'll be a few in the US. So,
but my whole thing is like the numbers. I mean, I was reading
it's not fast enough.
A McLaren 765 LT is as fast as it, and it costs a quarter of the price.
And it's not that lightweight. It's not that powerful. Like, it has, again, cool experiment. I think as a design attempt, let's put Formula One engine in a road car. Great, good, you did it. Maybe that wasn't that great of an idea to begin with, though.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like it was too little, too late, and part of me wonders if they just kind of pushed it out the door because some CEO somewhere was like, hey, this has been in development too long. We got to get this out the door because everyone else is doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if you talk to the actual engineers, they'd probably say, yeah, we needed more time or whatever. And apparently it's like oh, go ahead.
I feel like there's going to be a car where there's going to be an update package or an upgrade for the batteries or the engine in 5 years that was going to make it substantially faster. And then
who knows? Yeah. Whose phone's buzzing?
I think it's Orlando.
But yeah, I think that's going to be a kind of a disappointment once they actually get it out. People drive them. You're going to see, I'm sure, YouTube. All the journalists and people will drive it. Cool experiment. I'm impressed that they were able to do it with a Formula One engine, but it's like at what cost?
Maybe the idea wasn't that great. Maybe the Valkyrie approach or like Formula One inspired V12 was better.
Right.
It's the same as the T50 approach and whatnot. So
50. How do you guys feel about T50?
How many kidneys do you need?
Okay, so
Can't afford it, but I want it. Like,
What's a T50?
So Jose, I'll let you explain.
Gordon Murray designed the McLaren F1. You're familiar with what McLaren F1 is, right?
Sure.
Okay. He designed the McLaren F1, ultimate road car ever made. How much are they now? 20 million?
Easy.
He is now coming with a spiritual successor of that car. He's developing a car called the T50. Same formula, V12, less than 1,000 kilograms, right? 1,000 kilograms for 1,100?
Looks so generic to me. Anyways,
in my opinion, looks a little bit like an F1 just modernized.
Right. Yeah.
Central seat like a McLaren F1, like central seat position.
I just looked up the weight. So yeah, it's 986 kilos.
Yeah. In a modern car with airbags.
Yeah, so it's just under 2,200 pounds.
And this thing is going to be street legal.
Yes,
So it's
and
the
it revs
it's,
to 14,000 RPM with a manual V12.
That's a motorcycle.
And it's a fan car, so it has fans to suck it down to the ground. It has no like real aero, just fans. Which
it's
the
all ground
McLaren,
effect.
which is an unknown fact of the McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 has fans, just not to the same degree.
Wow.
So bonkers car. Like absolutely, I want it. How many kidneys? How many people do I need to sell you in my family? But I want it. Like straight up.
So okay, so here's my brief thoughts on it. It's an incredible project. I think Gordon Murray. I mean, obviously he's one of the most admired people in the automotive world. Full stop. But and here's the big but. I don't know it's a little too similar to an F1. It's like a modern creation of it, but it's not associated with McLaren. So he had an opportunity to kind of do his own thing, but he also stuck to what he knew, which is fine. I get it. Now, my issue with it, from the front, not bad. From the side, not bad. It's pretty timeless, clean. There's not too much going on. It's not excessive. The back. So it's a fan car. And they emphasize this by putting this like central circular, like tunnel fan shroud looking thing on the back. And it completely kills the design of the car to me because it's such a clean, simple design. And then you've got this gimmick right in the center at the back. And if you look at the car from the back, it's too tall. It just messes up the proportions. And I wanted to like this car. I still do like this car on paper, but I'm telling you, the more I see it from the rear, the more I just can't get on board.
Yeah, but for people like you, there's T33.
Hold on. That's
Are
another
there?
issue I have. So, sorry to cut you off, Lewis.
You're good. Go ahead.
So, when the T50 was first announced, Gordon Murray, he did this whole press launch and they had all the journalists and they did really in-depth interviews and all this stuff. And he said, okay, T50, this is going to be our sole focus. We're going to, make sure that we get this one car right. And that's all we're going to be doing. And then he announced the T50S or whatever the
Race
track
car
version
version.
was.
Yeah. That's
okay,
fine.
so fine. Then he announced the T33. Okay, so now he's doing two models. And there's some differentiation between the two. But it's like, what's he going to announce next? It's like you started with this really focused vision.
Listen,
And they haven't even delivered a customer car yet, and they're already kind of expanding. I just don't want them to lose sight of that original plan and like spread themselves too thin.
I think T33 exists to make the company make money. T50 pay the R&D. T33 exists as the profit maker. Also, the reason I'm so okay with the T30 because it's still a $1 million plus car. It's almost T50 back to basics, but more so than that, I think Gordon Murray deserves probably a bigger shot at developing a car and selling a car under his own brand than like Pagani. If Paganis exist in this world, why can't this?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I'm
Like-
sure he's already sold and taken deposits on a boatload of them.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate when a manufacturer, especially a boutique niche manufacturer like that, focuses on one thing at first, and they do it really, really, really well. They deliver the cars. They have unanimous praise, and then they can say, okay, that was a success. Now we can take our learnings and roll out the next model. I feel like they haven't gotten their footing yet, and they're already spreading themselves too thin. That's just
I
me.
get it, but I trust that man with everything. He can do that.
Look, I want it to succeed. I really do.
Like-
but I also want them to do a facelift or actually a tail lift, so we don't have to look at it from the back.
I have an issue with the front, honestly. Not even the back. I don't know.
The front's not too bad for me. It's generic, but it's
generic. Yeah, it's.
You know what it kind of looks like? It looks like if you spawned a hypercar into Grand Theft Auto.
Correct. And right now I'm looking at it, and I actually have a scale model of the F1 GTR, I think it is.
Mhm.
And I mean the resemblance is there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Now, the cool part is he did stick to how the McLaren F1 had the side pods for the luggage, and you can actually use it to go on like a grand tour of
and
go
it
on a
carries
driving
3
tour.
people.
Correct. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it can have 3 people in it.
I mean, I don't know if I'd want to be passenger 2 and 3, but
do-
for
Feels
too
like
long at least.
Whichever passenger will be on the left side, don't want to be that guy. But
Are the
Dude.
the tail lights here? They look like 488 tail lights. Am I wrong?
A little bit.
Yeah, a
What
little
do you
bit.
mean a little bit? They're like almost identical, minus the little space in between.
But I love 48 taillights, so
Yeah, you're right.
I don't see a problem there.
I mean,
So hold
I-
on. So I just wanted to say, like, this is probably the only group or one of few groups in the world where we can take a car that's a V12 naturally aspirated manual, revs to 14,000, and
Yo.
here we are criticizing and like shitting all over it.
Listen, I'm not criticizing. How many people of my family do I need to give you out? I want it. I don't care. I want it.
All right,
I'll
we
take
found
E32
one.
too.
All right, we found at least one additional customer in Jose.
Well, I don't have the money, so I'm not really a customer. Okay.
Not yet.
Not with that attitude.
That's an expensive one.
Okay, so one additional car that I want to bring up because you guys know I'm a little bit of a endurance racing nerd, especially when it comes to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Obviously, Audi, near and dear to my heart. They were my team that I supported, back in 2011, 2012, when Porsche and Audi and all them were in there. But Porsche did say they are coming back to WEC for the 2023 season. So at Goodwood, they unveiled the Porsche 963, which will be an LMDH, which is kind of the hypercar hybrid class. And it's going to be WEC and IMSA. So it's going to be in 2 series at the same time.
So they're going to run in America.
Correct, which means we'll have a chance to see it, which is epic. And we definitely need to make that happen.
Of course.
Did anybody watch 24 Hours of Le Mans, or was it
No,
only me?
because it's boring, because the same guy's going to win. If they don't win, well, it's because they crashed or broke the car again.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's been a few years since it's actually been interesting and fun to watch, because that top class just had nobody in it. For the past couple of years, it was Toyota competing with themselves. So it was the same thing this
Well,
year.
it was Toyota versus Radical, no? But Radical is not even a hybrid, so there's no chance.
So yeah, there was Radical, and there was also Glickenhaus.
Yeah.
So hey, shout out to Glickenhaus. They're doing great things. Their car was actually pretty competitive, and we got to see that car, the exact car, down in Miami, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it was just Toyota competing against themselves. It was their race to lose, which they've done before, which is ironic and hilarious at the same time. But yeah, I'm really excited for the return. Porsche's coming back. Ferrari said they're throwing their hat in the ring to go into hypercar, which is, I don't think they've ever done it, or it's been like 40 or 50 years since they've done that.
Yeah.
Who else did I say? Cadillac said they're getting back into it. BMW, I think, is entering. Audi was supposed to, but then they withdrew, and they're going to F1.
It seems like they're joining F1s, which it's still cool. I would like to see Audi in F1. So
yeah. So and then also I shouldn't be rooting for them or alluding to the fact that I like them, but Peugeot is going to be back in. And if you guys know anything about the old school, when Audi was in there, it was Audi and Peugeot 1 and 2. They were like arch rivals. So Peugeot has a really cool car. They don't actually have a rear wing, so it's all ground effect, and it's kind of like almost like a touring, quote unquote, car. It looks incredible. So I'm excited to see that, because I think just that grid is just going to be stacked. So hopefully you guys can get into it like I have. I know Rudy is a little more into it, kind of like me.
I'll get into it if there's a race to watch, not just a guy in first place.
Yeah, it should be. It should be.
So.
It totally should be. And if you guys want to catch up on that, or kind of get into a little bit of the hype and understand what that race is about, because it's about teamwork, it's about engineering, it's about all sorts of stuff. It's just incredible what they do. Truth in 24, they did 2 documentaries. I know, you guys always make fun of me for it. But seriously, like, you guys owe it to yourselves. Just watch them. They're really, really cool. They show you like the whole behind the scenes, what it takes to run a team like that and race and win. Audi was the best in the business, and they had a whole film crew follow them. So Truth in 24, can't go wrong. Watch it, and then get ready for 2023 and beyond, because I think it's going to be really, really exciting. I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, I know. You here out here pushing Turfin 24 to all of us.
Hey, I'm gonna do it until you guys watch it.
I've watched it.
Then you're excused. But everybody else
Okay.
watch it.
I haven't, so.
That's good,
You owe it to yourself.
Mhm.
but he might be overhyping it a little bit.
Maybe.
A little bit, a little bit.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it
But
definitely is.
how will you know until you watch it?
True.
Fair point. Um,
Yeah. So anyway, that's a couple of the highlights from Goodwood. There was a ton of stuff there. I still actually have to catch up on some YouTube videos to really understand all the stuff that happened. But
yeah, same.
Hey.
Now,
So
I was
Yeah.
We need to talk
watching
about some
I was watching the Aston Martin. What's the name?
Valkyrie.
The Valkyrie.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Wait, Luis, you've seen the Valkyrie in real life, no?
Yeah, I shot one.
My,
No, it's
my
not the
man.
Valkyrie, the new one.
The Valhalla.
The Valhalla. That's the one I shot.
That's the one that I
that thing looks awesome.
I'm more excited for Valhalla than Valkyrie because Valkyrie.
Yeah, the rear end of that thing is insane.
Valhalla seems
Well-
more road going as a car.
Yeah. Now, didn't
one
they
is a race
redesign
car,
that?
Right. One is a
No,
race car, and the other.
No,
is a
so
road car.
there's a Valkyrie race car, and then there's like Valkyrie road car, and then Valhalla under it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a friend. That him and his family ordered a Valhalla from I think the same dealership that Luis shoots for.
Yeah.
So
You guys know they kind of redesigned the Valhalla like mid development cycle, right?
yeah,
Like they initially unveiled it, and then I think somebody at the head of Aston Martin retired or resigned, and some new guy came in and redesigned it and made it look way better, in my opinion.
yeah. That car looks super classy, and I think it'll be a better road car than Valkyrie because Valkyrie you can't get in it for the most part.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and it has 2 seats, but you're like on top of the other guy, so yeah. But those will be interesting. But yeah, so Goodwood,
Wait a minute. I'm
I
going to be
guess
on top of who?
whoever's driving or whoever's the passenger.
Oh my god.
I'm driving. Who wants to be passenger?
I'll pass.
Anyways,
I think
Goodwood, yeah?
Goodwood.
bringing new meaning to the name of the show. Nicely done.
Amen, brother. I'm here for the jokes.
You'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Indeed.
So, all right. Well, so the next topic that I think I wanted to touch on.
You're wrong.
What? Well, you don't even know what I'm going to say.
Z?
Yeah.
You're
And-
wrong.
okay. So, you know what? I'll let you take the segue. Go ahead.
All right. Z, great car. I just super still wins for me.
Wait
man.
a minute. What are we talking about?
For the new 400Z.
Okay.
Well, just Z. The 400 was
Yeah.
applied by the internet.
Oh, wow. It's no longer 400.
No, never.
Never
was.
Well, if I ever get one, I'm going to call it 400Z.
Anyways,
There you go.
Mhm.
the new Z, great car, but it's just a red sport 2-door with the same engine.
And what's wrong with that?
Okay,
The
keep
Super
going.
Schooler.
And is it?
Yes.
It's a BMW.
What's wrong with that?
It's not a Toyota. It's not a Supra.
Okay.
I mean, the
But
name. The
this-
name is Supra. It's fast
Yeah,
as hell.
But Nissan just reused the engine they were using in Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an
Okay,
Infinity.
but
engine.
But at least it's their own design, their own engine.
Yeah, but Toyota just contracted the best inline six maker in the
okay.
market right now, which is
Okay.
BMW.
Mom, Dad, one at a time.
I'm
So-
sorry, super.
So here's my official take on it. So Supra, right? It's not a bad car. It's a great car. I'm sure it drives well. It's fast. It has tuning potential. All of that. I'm not discounting any of that. Here's my thing: the Supra has this position within the Toyota lineup as their halo sports car, right? And they have this reputation. The Mark IV is just, I mean, that's probably the most legendary car that Toyota has ever made,
Mhm.
Fair enough.
right?
Right.
So when you tell me you're rebooting your Halo car that has that reputation, that has that cult following, right? You get a lot of people's hopes up. because you're bringing back the king. And when you tell me like, okay, yeah, we're bringing back the king, but we actually didn't build it ourselves. We kind of relied on BMW. We took the Z4 and made it into our hardtop. We styled it, but the underpinnings, the chassis, the engine, transmission, infotainment, it's all BMW. To me, that is a half-assed attempt. That's a half-hearted attempt at bringing back your Halo car. That's just my 2 cents.
It's a
My
corporate. It's a corporate company.
Yeah, and more so than that, you gotta remember Mark IV failed. It did not sell. Like, it may have gotten cult following after, but to Toyota, that car did not succeed.
I get it.
Like
It was very
it.
expensive.
That's a
Like,
really good point.
In proportion, the Supra now is more affordable than it was before.
Yeah. And my other thing is, if they will have developed that car on their own, it will not be as affordable as it is right now.
No,
Which is not really affordable. I get it's a $60,000 car, but it's not 100. A GTR is 100 grand.
Well, a GTR used to be 100 grand. Now they're 160.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but at least I can look at the Nissan GTR and say that they developed it from A to Z. It's their own project. To me,
if it felt like a Z4, I would give you the point. But if you drive a Z4 and you drive a Supra, they don't feel the same.
That's like I don't know. For me, it rings a little hollow when you tell me you're bringing back your Halo, flagship car, and it was a half-hearted attempt. It's like, oh yeah, we didn't really want to go through the effort or the cost of engineering the engine and the chassis, and we just phoned it in to BMW. They took care of us. Now, if you called it anything but a Supra and called it, hey, whatever you want to call it, but hey, this is our new Toyota sports car, and we partner with BMW. Hey, no problem, cool. They did that with the 86, right, with Subaru, and everyone is cool with both of those cars.
Yeah, but then you're disappointing people that, oh, you gave me a sports car, but you didn't give me the sports car that I was hoping for.
Yeah,
they got something.
I don't know. I think
if people got a performance, it's not like it's a slouch either.
Yeah, it's fast.
That thing is crazy.
They make power like it's like a modern 2J. They make good power. They're fast.
Definitely great bang for your buck.
Like the ethos of the car being a 6-cylinder that like makes crazy power with very little mods is still there.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I don't discredit any of that, but maybe I'm looking at it from more of a branding and
I think you're more focused on the branding and like what the car.
To me,
it should be like what the story should be than what the car actually is and how it succeeded at being a Supra.
I get it. I get it. And I don't know. I want it to succeed, but it just misses the mark for me.
And let's not forget, now they're fixing one big issue, which was the manual transmission. So the fact that they actually went back to that, you can tell that they're still trying. Like, it's not a It's
now
not
do you
void. I mean,
yeah, but do you think they did? And also, that's another point. Speaking of the manual, if they wanted it to be their flagship Halo sports car about the driving enthusiasts and all of that, why didn't they come out with the manual in the first place? Because to me, maybe, but to me,
it was budget thing.
Exactly. Yeah,
it has to be a budget thing because they didn't want to pay BMW to develop the transmission because BMW doesn't need it for the Z4. So once the Supra sold, they went like, hey, this car is selling really well. We're getting still requests for manual. Let's do it. We have the proof of concept that we can sell them. Mm-hmm. Let's go for it and spend the money and develop the manual transmission for this engine.
The cynic in me wants to say they only did the manual because they saw the Z doing the manual.
No.
I don't think the development track will be that quick. I'm sorry.
Do you think
swapping manuals on those cars like almost immediately?
Yeah, that was the sign.
Mm-hmm.
When the car was selling well and people were manual swapping them, I think that was the sign. Hey, we need to work on this. We proved that the car is not going to feel like the Mark IV. Now let's spend money developing a manual because BMW is not going to do it.
Okay, so flip the same coin though. So speaking of the Z, right? The Z, it's going to be a little bit less expensive. Yes. It's going to be a great engine, great powertrain. Now, granted, they were also budget constrained.
To me, it just feels a little old. Like they're just bringing an old engine again.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the RS3, couldn't you?
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like, all
but it's a
engines
great
fly,
engine
though.
and it makes for a great
but
car.
okay, so let me say something here. I've driven a Red Sport Infinity, and my impression of that car was that it was too much drivetrain for the rest of the car. So, in my opinion, the drivetrain itself just needed a better, you know, house or roof
Yeah,
in order to like shine properly. And I think this is gonna be the case because
I
the Red Sport, I mean, it's a good car. It's very old now, and it doesn't
that's my
grab the whole
concern.
potential of the drivetrain, and I think the C is gonna do that. So it's like another opportunity to make it right, in my opinion.
Maybe I do
So
know I love the look of the Z and the Supra. So
And
the Z, I'm cool with the styling. The front, I'm still not 100% sold on, but the back is great.
the back is insane, and the front, I see a retro car, so I'm sold.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Front's pretty ugly to me.
Well,
it's
To me, I mean, just
well,
I
keep in mind,
to each his own. I drive a freaking Veloster.
there's two things here. The Supra and the C are very different cars in the sense of their history. The C
mhm.
has been a car that's always been iconic and always had a cult following in terms of what it used to be and what it's supposed to be. And the Supra wasn't necessarily a great car at the very beginning because remember, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Supra used to be a Celica. The
yeah,
Supra it was a trim within the Celica model. They eventually turned it into another model. So the beginnings of a Supra wasn't necessarily something, like historical or great. And yes, they have the following and all that, but it to me the history of a Z has more meaning than the history of a Supra. The
I
Supra
agree.
became what it is because of the cult following with the Mark IV. The Mark III is getting more popular now, but it was a boring car and a slow car for the most part.
Mhm.
So you're not talking about 20 something years of a great car that they just managed to ruin. It was a good-ish car that turned into a cult following, and then that last model was what cemented the what people expected for the new one. So to me, it's a completely different issue to solve in terms of what the Z has to be and what the Supra has to be, because the Supra has to be a performer. A Z, it's a heritage car.
I agree.
So I don't know.
That's a fair take. That's a fair
Yeah,
take. But again, I guess I'm looking at it through a marketer's eyes, right? And to me, your flagship Halo product should basically say, "This is who we are as a company. This is what we believe in. This is what we stand in, and this is what we're willing to do to make those things happen." And the fact that you rely on another company to get that done, to me, weakens it just a touch.
But
Um,
they admitted that the car was not going to happen otherwise. So
I know, and obviously I'm not pretending I know how to launch a new global car, and of course all the manufacturing, logistics, cost, R&D. I'm sure there's a million different aspects to it, but just on a very top level overview, my feeling on it, it's like it's a shame it couldn't just be their own project from the ground up, the exact way they want it, with all of their brand values and standards in place. That's just me.
I will say, if you are hoping for that, there's probably now a better chance of that happening if there's a next generation Supra,
That's a fair point.
mhm.
That's a fair
because
point
of
because
the
they,
success of this one. Now
yeah,
they know
because
it. Now they know they can put money behind it.
right, they've proven their business case,
Yeah.
so now they could
So,
hopefully do a new one. So that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Minus the fact that we're going to the electric vehicles now.
yeah,
So that is
regardless, that's it.
one.
Well, okay, so actually going back to Goodwood for a second, I think, and it didn't get much press, but Lexus unveiled a new electric like hypercar, which is, I guess, the quote unquote next LFA, which is kind of sacrilegious because the LFA had the most glorious
Best sounding engine
V10,
there.
Oh
uh,
yes.
and now the quote unquote LFA successor will be electric and silent.
Yeah. But even the Lotus Evangel was there, and I saw almost no press for it. So
Well, the Avaya is a couple years old now at this point. I feel like they didn't really do anything with it.
Yeah.
So
Is that car even still on track for production?
I have no clue. No clue. I mean, Lotus is not doing too much. They have the Amira, which has been getting like
Amira is cool.
it's cool, but it's been getting lukewarm kind of reviews because I
I've
think
seen a
it's
lot of mixed reviews, so I want to see more owners take.
yeah. I mean,
I think
the
that's
thing
what-
that the thing that made a Lotus was the stripped out, lightweight, no frills whole thing, and now they're trying to add luxuries and features in. It's like, is it still a Lotus?
I think what maybe screwed the image of what people were expecting of the Amira a little bit was that the timing of the release of the Amira coincided with the ending of the Elise and Exige. So people think it's a replacement for those when it's really a replacement of an Evora.
But it's even more like luxurious and feature filled than an Evora.
Yeah, but an Evora was actually pretty similar in weight. So
yeah,
it's more in line with an Evora than an Elise. It's not really replacing the Elise.
No, absolutely not. But to your point, yeah, that's when people hear Lotus.
If they want to release a more like Elise replacement car, they still could and slot it under the Amira. So I also think that the Amira for a reason, so they can sell it in the US, because I don't think Elise will ever sell in the US or another Elise replacement, whatever we would call it.
Yeah, it's a tough sell.
I think Evora didn't sell because it was just crap. But it seems like Amira has
they had a ton of
together.
Yeah, they had a ton of quality and fit and finish, and it's a Toyota powertrain, obviously, but
yeah, that still doesn't mean that the rest of the car can't fall apart.
Exactly. It's still built in a shed in England. So
exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Lotus has any kind of a budget, like a big budget for anything.
No,
so.
but they've been in trouble for a while, so I think they really need it to be a success. But we'll see. I'm curious. I think styling wise, it's cool, and the price is kind of bang on. It's going to be competitive with like a 718 Boxster Cayman.
If they can sell a few of those, they can maybe make a better business case to develop some cooler cars.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. They just need to sell them and not
look. You never want to see a car maker fail, especially when they make cool driver,
especially like a historic car maker like Lowe's with F1 and whatnot.
Right, and any brand that puts out cars that are focused on the driving experience like they are, you don't want to see them fail.
Yeah.
So I get it. One last thing I wanted to comment on, because I know we're getting close to about an hour here. If you guys have a chance, and if you haven't already, watch the Jason Camisa video that he did on the Z, and he mentions the Supra. He actually mentions the Veloster. There's a couple of really cool cars in there. So he does this segment called Icons, and he does it with the Haggerty company, the insurance company. They have a great YouTube channel. But he did a comparison talking about the Z, the history, the heritage. He touches on all the different sports cars, and basically how, unfortunately, people just don't have the money lying around to have a $40,000, $50,000 toy. So over time, people have resorted to the hot hatch, the hot sedan, WRX, GTI, Veloster, those sorts of cars. So watch it. It's a really good look at the automotive landscape and what people are able to get into as normal folks, right? Because not everybody has a bunch of money to go buy, GT3 paint to sample allocations.
Next car.
And I would argue Camisa is probably the best automotive journalist in the last probably 10, 15 years.
The amount of research he put into that video is astounding and so well executing. Like you learn so much in a fun way with still like the good jokes and everything. Absolute worth watch.
I felt like I was watching old Top Gear.
But
I mean, that was the
well,
yeah, but that was the level of writing and filming.
Yeah,
and
very, very well done.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Next class.
So yeah, so I guess to kind of start to wrap things up, Jose, you've been on a bit of a shopping spree lately. Not related to cars, but I feel like they usually go hand in hand.
Yeah, they usually
cars.
go hand in hand. So I'll touch on it briefly. Maybe I'll go into more next time we get on if Rudy can join.
Sure.
So I don't know if you guys follow watches, but if you follow watches, you probably heard of the Moon Swatch, which is a collaboration between Swatch and Omega. I was able to get my hand on one of those, and it hit. It's like struck something with me because I used to be like very much into watches, and then like I fell off. I would just wear my Apple Watch and not care. It struck. Like it hit me again, and I got bitten by the bug, and I bought another moon swatch. I bought a bunch of old Casios. I bought a Tissot. I haven't told you guys I ordered an Omega. So I went nuts.
Fancy.
I went nuts. So I
No surprise there.
I went a little extra on that.
I have to say, getting to see the moon swatch, because obviously I knew about them. They were cool, but seeing
when
in
you
person,
see it in person,
it's neat.
It makes way more sense. Like when you hear about, you think it's like, oh, it's like a fake Omega moon watch, just like made in plastic. But the way they did it and the way they played around with the colors and they were able to make it into something fun, I think adds so much more to like the moon watch story. And let's say, obviously I'm fortunate enough where I can go buy a moon watch right now. But even as someone younger, it's like it lowered that barrier to entry into watches. Like
right.
it made me pay attention. And made me
Right.
wanna order a moon watch. It made me wanna like go and like learn more about watches and now more like movements and different calibers and histories of the brands. So very, very well done by Omega and Swatch. It was, if that is probably one of those campaigns, especially for you, Adam, and me who study advertising, that I think in 10 years you're going to look back is like, what a way to like relaunch a brand like Swatch, who was not doing well, and bring at the same time more awareness to the younger buyers of Omega. Very, very well done. So
yeah, and also the cool part is that they didn't just launch the one and then said, okay, here's
11.
the one and we're done.
No, they did 11 at the same time.
The whole set, they introduced that level of collectability.
Yeah,
just like we used to do as kids with like Pokemon trading cards.
Not even collectability. Yeah, right now they're hard to get, and that's a whole topic of its own. They're not limited, and in a recent interview, it seems like they're going to be out for a while. So it's really not really about like, oh, like can you get one because a resale or whatnot. At some point, you're going to be able to get one or get them all. It's just going to take time. So
yeah, and I was reading
as they say, you can. Like literally.
Yeah, I was reading an article, and I guess the Swatch Group president, he was saying that they're not going to be selling them online. They have no intention to sell them online. So they want you to go into the store to experience the brand. They want you to keep going back, right, to see what additional versions and colors you can find. And it's clever.
Back,
it's really
after
clever.
Getting my first one, me going back to get more, and I've only been able to get one more. Has made me pay more attention to other Swatch watches. So I ended buying like 2 other Swatches from just going back and talking to the people there.
Yep.
So
yeah, so it's expanding, their brand. They're showing it to people who otherwise wouldn't have considered them.
I would have never looked at Swatch. I love Omega. I would have never looked at Swatch in my life.
Yep.
And now I have 4 in the last 2 weeks. So very well done. And I like the idea of going back to the store. Yeah, it sucks right now. There's no watches, but when they're rarely available. I think it'll play very well with Swatch.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually interested in getting probably the moon swatch. If I can find one, I'd pick one.
You do the mission to the moon?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I need that one
because it's closest to the it's closest.
It's
the
closest to the real
to me.
Yeah. And then today, just to finish off, today, my coworker has the real moon watch, and he was wearing it, and I was wearing my Mission on Earth. Just it's like identical dimensions, like exactly the same. Yeah, it's way lighter, but just like it's exactly the same, but in fun colors and plastic. And that watch is probably retails for 71 for a 20th of the price.
Yeah, basically.
So
give or take.
Yeah, insane.
So we've got a watch collector now. So we can expand the subject matter on the show.
I'll go more into it and like hunting the watches and how it's been in another episode. But it's been a lot of fun and I've truly enjoyed it. a lot. So.
For sure. And I'm sure once we can get Rudy, who's a good friend of ours, once we can get him on the show, you guys will have all sorts of nerdy watch discussions, just like we have nerdy, Volkswagen discussions and car discussions and all that. So we have another facet to the show that we can, turn to.
Yeah.
So, okay. Hey, so I don't know if anybody has any parting remarks, but we're coming up on just about an hour here. Touched on a lot of cool topics, and this was fun. Again, I like this.
Like always.
Yeah.
Time flies by. That was an hour away. Oh.
Yeah. I'm telling you, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
And now
So, yeah. So, all right. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Be sure to tune in for the next one. Again, we are Six Driven, and this is our podcast. And I think we answered the question if anything was going on tonight. So, until next time, peace out.
Yeah.
Have fun. Go safe.
See you guys.